your plugs in. Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. Hi, welcome. So hopefully a few more folks will trickle in, but I want to keep us as close as possible to our agenda. So welcome, thank you for being here. This is the PB Pathways Ad Hoc Subcommittee meeting. We will be talking almost entirely about Diamond Street, so if that's what you're here for, good. I want to go over really quickly who I am and who else is going to be helping out today. So I'm Katie Matchett. I am a board member on our community parking district, which is the sponsor of the subcommittee, and also of Beautiful PB. And I'm going to be facilitating some of the workshop today, and then we have a couple other folks that I'm going to let introduce themselves, and then we'll do community introductions once we start the workshop activities. So, Chris, do you want to start? Introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, Chris Olson. I'm on the PB Parking District Board as well, and that's about it. I'm also a Beautiful PB board member.
Sunny.
I'm Sunny Lee. I'm the Executive Director of Discover Pacific Beach.
And I'm Carla Torado. I'm the Pacific Beach Community Representative for Councilperson Pro Tem Jola Cava, who represents District 1.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Pierce. I'm a senior planner with the city's Sustainability and Mobility Department. Just here to float around and listen today and bring your feedback on Diamond Street. Thanks for having us.
Ryan Stock, I'm president of Beautiful PB and also on the parking district.
Okay, so in terms of our agenda, it's up there real quick. We're going to do a very, very brief background presentation on PB Pathways. A lot of you have already heard me give my spiel, so I'm not going to go over everything again about what that project is. However, if you have questions, feel free to ask me, or after the meeting come up and ask. I want to make sure everyone's clear kind of on the bigger picture project that we're working on. I just don't want to belabor it for folks who've heard it and in the interest of time. Then we're going to move on to our workshop activities. That's the bulk of our discussion today, where we're going to be doing some small group discussion, really focus on some questions around Diamond Street. At the end, we'll wrap it up. We'll talk a little bit about what the next steps are in this process. And then at the very end, if there's any public comment that is on something that's not on our agenda tonight, so not Pathways or Diamond Street, that would be a time to weigh in with announcements or questions or things that you'd like to share with the group then. And then we are going to end pretty promptly at 7:30. The library does need us out of here, and also my kids are home alone, and I would like my home to be intact when I return. So, the faster the better. So let me just really get started, and I apologize that I'm back here, but this is the place I have to run the presentation from right now. Okay, so just really quick, for any of you who aren't familiar with the PB Pathways themselves, this is a map of our existing PB Pathways network. This was created back in 2014. It was a collaborative effort of many of our community groups here. The purpose is really focused on local travel, so not so much getting from neighborhood to neighborhood, but getting around our neighborhood here in PB. It is intended to encourage active transportation, so that's biking, walking, skating, scooting, that kind of thing, but also still allow driving on these pathways. So the dark red lines are pathways that we have in place right now, where we've installed surfboard decals and signage. That was the first phase of the project that was completed around 2014-2015. And then Diamond Street was the second phase. That was something that started during the COVID pandemic, so 2020 through 2023-ish. So as part of that phase, additional signage was installed along Diamond, and then the bollard dividers on Faneuil and Cass Street.
Could you describe the red lines? What is phase one? Just the
dark red lines
of a PB pathway on the street?
Say that again?
Is phase one just the PB pathway sign on the street? What is phase
Correct.
one?
That's exactly. There's signs on the parkway, so there's like wayfinding signs. There might be a picture of one right there, or in front of you, the parkway signs that are on the side of the road as well. And there's a few locations with wayfinding,
But none of those other red lines in the streets have bollards to restrict traffic?
No, nothing else. The dark red lines only have the decals and the signage. Diamond Street has the signage and the bollards. The dotted lines are future phases that are part of the network that have not yet been touched.
Could I point out also that Loring Street, I mean, it's still showing it's a other bike route, but the Loring Street to Ocean Boulevard is not a continuous street. And,
Right, yeah.
and it's really a problem when people think it's a street and then they get over there on their bikes. So
Yes.
I don't know if that can be updated,
Yeah.
but that really.
We're focused more on Diamond Street tonight, but yes, that is something to point out. Those blue lines are a little bit misleading. That's kind of an outdated map, but the red and green and the dotted red, that is up to date, and that is the current pathways right now. So then what we're working on as part of this subcommittee is thinking about what we might do as the next phase of this project. So we've had several meetings already to talk kind of more broadly about the entire network and what we might want to see happening on some of those streets. So I really want to emphasize that this is draft. There's going to be more discussion about this at our full parking district board, hopefully at some of these other community groups as well. But these are some of the initial ideas in terms of places where we might want to install more surfboard decals, signage. Other things we've talked about is improving our key crossings. People talk a lot about how difficult it is to cross things like Ingram or Brandon Burnett. Some of our beach locations are very challenging to access, especially like you said on Loring and Law and Diamond. And then there's some state laws that are already in place that allow for things like speed reductions and something called daylighting at intersections, or we might consider some enhancements taking advantage of those state laws. So that's part of the broader discussion we're having on phase 3, but today we really want to focus specifically on Diamond Street itself. So these are our goals for today's meeting. We want to talk about our key values for Diamond Street. We want to hear about, no matter how you feel about how it's configured right now, what is it that you value about this street? If you're a resident, if you're someone who just uses it a lot, what's important to you about the street in general? Then we do want to get some good input on what is your experiencing using the exact configuration that we see right now. What are you seeing? What are you hearing about? What are you experiencing as you're using it? And then we want to talk about ideas for future modifications. Do we want to keep what we have? Do we want to change that? If so, what might that look like? So those are the 3 questions that we're really going to discuss in the workshop activities. And Chris is going to tell us a little bit about what those activities are, and then we're just going to jump right into it.
Yeah, so, thank you. She basically just described it there as it's the workshop format. So what we will do is each table will work individually with a facilitator at each table, and everyone at the table will get a chance to talk and basically focus on those 3 questions, and then it will be recorded on these flip charts. And then at the end, which is about 20 minutes or so.
We're going to have about 25 minutes of discussion, roundtable discussion.
Then what happens is the facilitator or one of the persons from the group comes back and presents in front of everybody what the key things were from that. But so what I want to emphasize is that we're going to take one question at a time, and some groups may work faster than others, but everyone at the table should get a chance to speak and say what they have as their answer for that question, and then it gets recorded. And then, when I've done things like this before, the best way to do it is you start with one person and you go clockwise or counterclockwise around the table and let everyone say what they have to say. And some people may just say, I don't have anything to say, or they may say, oh, I agree with this or that or whatever. But when one person's talking, another person doesn't interrupt and say, I disagree with you. They can just record what that person says and put it up on the paper. And then once you've gone around and everyone's, basically answered that question, then you go on to the next one and you keep flipping the papers around until we've gone through all 3 questions, and hopefully, and that's basically it. So, So we need 4 facilitators.
Plus 4, and I wanted, a couple other quick things, if you're finished with that
Yeah,
presentation.
go ahead.
I wanted to, first of all, say there's also note cards on the table if you like think of
Right.
something at the last minute or just feel more comfortable writing it down or what have you. There's pens floating around, or I have extras up here. If you need them, go ahead, write them down on your note card, and we'll collect those at the end too. So, the more input, the better, really, at this point. And then there's just for ideas for that last question, what would you like to see on guidance sheet? There's a couple sheets floating around with just starting point ideas. It doesn't have to be these, but it just so you have some visuals to go around to get you thinking. And the last thing I wanted to make sure is that everyone signs in. There's sign-up sheets floating around. Please make sure you get your name on the sign-up sheet. I will try to keep track of time and call out when we're like halfway through our 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's it. So everyone,
so,
I guess.
Question for me, is it one question at a time?
Yes.
Once around?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, if you go once around and someone wants to add something, fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
But some people don't feel comfortable actually speaking up, so you can write it on the note cards and hand that in, and we'll throw it in.
It has more things in it.
So we're
So-
gonna, do we wanna even up the groups at all? We're like,
Just let 'em-
I mean, if you're happy with this, or people will trickle in, everyone take a
Yeah,
table
if you want
and
it.
that's it. Let's get
Switch
started.
around a little bit, I think that's,
All right, anyone have a table that they wanna do?
okay?
All right.
There's a lot of people over
Is it
here.
all right if I come over here?
Okay. That's not my turn. Hi.
They look fine.
Sarah, you wanna keep
All right, I'm gonna grab this pen that I stole off my children's class at one of the classes. That's all that it works. So I'm gonna just have us launch right in, but as we go through the first question, can you also say your name so everyone knows who you are? I'm just gonna stand up here and try to write live off the shoulder. Like, What about, so you feel like you're seeing the cars are stopping, well, two questions. One, what do you see cars doing? And two, why do you say how to directly or if it's go direction?
I see cars stopping. The problem is, there's a lot of sign that says like just walk and stop. That's creating near
Well, in general, but the way I see it,
And what about, when you say, bikes and lights, are they actually, is it the, north direction, east west direction, or both
so you're getting a lot of debate, but I'll just explain myself. Questions right here. What is the on the
speeding on the east west or the other?
Go through the middle, which implies it's a sixth street, and it implies that any fire or any international idiots, another role playing. You can go down the middle.
Okay, so
Your chance to
suggestion
The surfboard.
to is
Skateboard.